Hey guys, welcome to the channel and another video. Today I'm going to be watching Chinatown by Roman Polanski starring Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. I know Polanski as a legendary director, but I only watched one film from him, The Pianist starring Adrian Brody, which was a fantastic film. I am aware of some of the controversy surrounding this director, but that's a conversation for another day. I'm a huge fan of Nicholson's work as I've watched plenty of films from him, my favorite being Kubrick's The Shining, still being the only horror film that scared me to this day. I recently got introduced to Faye Dunaway's work through Network, which itself was a masterpiece of predictive social commentary. Do check that video out if you haven't yet. Okay, about Chinatown, I know the film as a classic, but I have no idea what it's about except it being some sort of neo-noir thriller. I think it involves a murder plot or something. Knowing Polanski's work, I expect an excellent script, cinematography, and top-tier performances by the cast. But before we get into it, to help support the channel, I have a Patreon page for full-length reactions to this film and over 90 movies, early access, and a weekly post for what to watch next. You'll need your own copy to watch along. The link's in the description below, by the way. Please consider being a patron. Please subscribe to the channel. Do check out my other videos. Like if you liked this video, dislike it if you didn't. With all that being said, let's get started. Chinatown, Polanski, Nicholson, Dunaway. Let's go. Jack Nicholson, Roman Polanski. There's so much controversy surrounding Polanski. Burt Young. Holy crap, Polly. Music by Jerry Goldsmith. That dude has been around forever.
Ooh. Ah.
That's Burt Young. Jack Nicholson has one of the most expressive faces.
Just no good.
What can I tell you, kid? You're right.
Mrs. Mulray is waiting for you.
What seems to be the problem?
My husband.
He's a private investigator.
Do you love your husband?
Yes, of course.
Then go home and forget everything.
I love the character framings here. They're paralleled with the foreground and the background.
Hollis Mulray.
Water and power?
He's chief engineer.
He's a public figure then. That complicates things.
We'll see what we can do.
Turn right, hop a streetcar, and within 25 minutes,
That's Roosevelt, right? So this must be in the 50s.
and without water, the dust will rise up and cover us as though we never existed.
That's Mr. Mulray.
112 feet high and a 12,000-acre water surface. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. Thank you, John.
So it's not going to be structurally sound, I think.
You steal the water from the valley, ruin the grazing. Who's paying you to do that, Mr. Mulray?
Oh, what a beautiful shot. Yeah, that's definitely a telephoto lens based on the focal distance. The music is so intriguing. What is he up to? Alright, that definitely piqued my interest because we already have a sense of a plot. Okay, they've been here for a couple of hours. I really don't know what to make of this. Are they dumping the water on purpose? How smart!
Geez, he was there all night.
That was ingenious.
So what do you got?
Dude, he's so cool. It's on the paper.
We don't publish a record in the paper, I can tell you that.
Neither do I.
Mr. Gittes, have we ever met?
Well, no.
You see, I'm Mrs. Evelyn Mulray.
Wait, what? There was an imposter.
I've never hired you to do anything, certainly not spy on my husband.
Ray, I think there's been some misunderstanding here. There's no point in getting tough with me. I'm just
I don't get tough with anyone, Mr. Gittes. My lawyer does.
Here's something for you, Mr. Gittes.
Oh, no, no, no.
Mr. Mulray,
He's not in
has he been gone long?
since lunch.
Polanski is really trickling information.
Sit down. Do you know where Mulray's having lunch?
That was a beautiful shot with the reflection in the picture. That was intentional.
Well, it's this darn drought. We've had to ration water in the valley, and the farmers are desperate. But what can we do? The rest of the city needs drinking water.
You ought to be able to hold on to your water for you.
That was an insult with a smile. Brilliant writing. Man, that's a beautiful car.
JJ get us to see Mr. Mulray?
The camera framings and the staging of the actors, it's just flawless. Polanski's spending a lot of time. Huh.
My husband's at the office.
Believe me, Mrs. Mulray, whoever set your husband up set me up.
Yep.
I'll drop the lawsuit.
I don't want to drop it. Somebody's gone to a lot of trouble here, and lawsuit or no lawsuit, I intend to find out. I'm not supposed to be the one who's caught with his pants down.
I completely understand.
She tells me she's you, she hires me. Now, whoever put her up to it doesn't have anything against me. They're out to get your husband. If I can see him, I can help him.
Now she is even suspicious, which she wasn't a little while ago.
Sorry, closed to public, sir. Russ Yelbert, Deputy Chief.
Oh, genius.
Get out of here before he sees you.
What are you talking about?
Hello, Jake. You look like you've done well by yourself.
He's well dressed.
You still putting Chinamen in jail for spitting in the laundry?
You're a little behind the times, Jake. They use steam irons now.
I wonder what the significance of Chinatown is to this film.
What are you doing around here?
Hollis Mulray, you seen him?
There he is.
The plot thickens. Mr. Mulray is dead.
There is no possibility that he would have taken his own life.
No.
Oh,
I thought you hired a private investigator.
they don't know the entire story.
I just didn't want to explain anything. To make it official that I've hired you.
Why would she do that? Why wouldn't she come clean? Oh man, these eyes, they're unsettling.
Yeah, got drunk, passed out on the bottom of the riverbed.
We saw that riverbed dry. Holy crap. That's 2 drowned people in a riverbed where there's no water. This score is so unique. It's growing on me.
Hello. What did you talk about? Do you mind my asking?
The water when it comes.
Story's so layered, I'm having a little trouble following it. But that's not in a bad way. I guess my question right now is, why is Jake so curious? There goes the water! Somebody's definitely dumping water and pretending like the river is actually dry. At least that's what I think.
Hold it!
That's Roman Polanski.
You know what happens to nosy fellows? They lose their noses. Next time you lose the whole thing.
Who are you though? I have no idea who those people were.
They'll claim you were trespassing.
I was the one who pretended to be Mrs. Mulray.
Oh.
I never expected anything to happen like what happened to Mr. Mulray. I want somebody to know that I didn't know what would happen. Just look in the obituary column of today's LA Post record.
Polanski is trickling information.
I think you shortchanged me on the story. Something else besides the death of your husband was bothering you. This could look like you paid me off to withhold evidence.
But he wasn't killed.
I love Dunaway's acting.
Actually, I knew about the affair.
Did you have affairs?
But Mr. Giddies,
Did he know about it?
I think you know all you need know about me.
I still don't.
What does this C stand for?
Cross.
That'll come into play later because she hesitated while saying cross.
But in case you're interested, your husband was murdered. It seems like half the city is trying to cover it all up, which is fine by me.
And I think she knows, to a certain extent.
I goddamn near lost my nose. And I like it. And I still think that you're hiding something.
So do I.
Mr. Sis.
I love the fact that Polanski is holding the shot. Noah Cross! Is that the father? Polanski is not feeding the audience information through direct exposition. We have to figure it all ourselves.
Noah Cross worked for the water department.
He owned it.
Wait, what?
He owned the water department?
Holy crap, that's an important player.
Don't tell me you're still working for Mrs. Mulray.
Dumping thousands of gallons of water down the toilet in the middle of a drought, that's news.
As you know, the farmers out there have no legal right to our water, but we've been trying to help some of them out. Naturally, when you divert water, there's a little runoff.
And I'm not mentioning too much about the filmmaking because it's perfect.
Drink?
No, thank you. I'll pay your salary, plus $5,000, if you find out what happened to Hollis. You see, Hollis and my father had a falling out, finally. Hollis felt that the water should belong to the public, and I don't think my father felt that way.
They're calling it an accident.
Who's the investigating officer?
So this is Cross.
We used to work together in Chinatown.
Oh.
You're dealing with a disturbed woman who's just lost her husband. You may think you know what you're dealing with, but believe me, you don't.
The district attorney used to tell me in Chinatown.
Yeah?
I don't get a good feeling from Mr. Cross.
I'll double whatever your fee is and pay you $10,000 if you find Hollis's girlfriend.
Do you remember the last time you saw Mulray?
At my age, you tend to forget.
It was 5 days ago outside the Pig and Whistle, and you had one hell of an argument.
Just find the girl.
Everybody's a suspect. Some names have been replaced. He has the names of the new owners because the land has been sold. And this is the second time he heard a gunshot after trespassing.
All right, quit now. All right, mister. Who you with, the water department or the real estate office?
Client hired me to see if the water department was irrigating your land.
Well, that's that.
Thanks for coming. They're blowing these farmers out of their land and then picking it up for peanuts. You have any idea what this land would be worth with a steady water supply?
Hollis knew about this.
That's why he was killed. Jasper Lamar Crabb. He passed away 2 weeks ago.
That's who Ida Sessions was referring to.
He passed away 2 weeks ago, and 1 week ago he bought the land.
My brain is lighting up with different theories.
Are you Emma?
Yes?
You want a lot of land.
No more.
Come on, I want you to meet someone, kid.
The score is picking up. Ooh, it's Roman Polanski again.
Tell me, Mr. Gidders, does this often happen to you?
Actually, this hasn't happened to me for a long time.
When was the last time?
In Chinatown.
God.
They're getting a little intimate.
Is it painful?
Something black in the green part of your eye.
It's a sort of birthmark.
Chinatown, everybody. To me, it was just bad luck.
Something big must have happened.
You can't always tell what's going on.
That's exactly how I feel about the film.
I have to go. You saw?
She's visibly shaking.
My father?
And she's covering up, almost like she wants to get away from the situation. Great acting.
My father is a very dangerous man. You don't know how dangerous.
He's the prime suspect in my head. Broke a taillight intentionally so the car is easier to follow. I would have never thought of that. Surprise!
Give me the keys. Mrs. Mulray, you've got your husband's girlfriend tied up.
Oh, I have to admit the lighting work here is just brilliant.
You won't go to the police if I tell you.
I will if you don't.
She's my sister.
Somebody broke in. Oh no. Somebody probably did silence her already. Jeez. I'm not surprised.
Find anything interesting, Giddies? What are you doing around here?
It's that lieutenant.
What happened to your nose, Giddy? Somebody slammed a bedroom window on it?
Nope. Your wife got excited. She crossed her legs a little too quick. You understand what I mean, pal?
Who the hell do you think you're dealing with? A bunch of assholes? Ray had salt water in his lungs.
But the river is fresh water.
Have your client in my office in 2 hours.
Where's Mrs. Mulray?
She's packing up.
She going on a vacation?
Salt water, very bad for grass.
Wait, what?
Salt water?
Very, very
He
bad.
was drowned in his own house? It had to have been Mrs. Mulray. It was Mrs. Mulray all along. Is she working with her father?
Where's the girl?
Upstairs. Why?
JJ get us for Lieutenant Escobar.
He's calling the police.
Will you please tell me what this is all about?
Don't pretend, Mrs. Mulray.
I found these in your backyard in the pond.
He fell. He hit his head. It was an accident. But his girl is a witch. Yes or no?
No!
Wait.
Who is she?
She's my daughter.
I said I want the truth.
She's my sister. She's my daughter.
No!
She's my sister and my daughter.
What am I hearing?
My father and I. Understand?
Jeez, what a reveal!
He raped you?
What the actual F?
Then what happened?
I ran away. I was 15.
My goodness.
Now I want to be with her. I want to take care of her.
You better just get out of here. Leave all this stuff
It's
here.
the father then.
He didn't wear bifocals.
So the glasses must belong to whoever killed Mulray. He's a child. Good for Jake for letting them go.
It's Chinatown, ain't it?
I know where it is. Just do it.
The movie's finally going to Chinatown.
Wait for me until 8:30. If I don't show up, take him to your boat.
Have you got your checkbook handy, Mr. Cross? I've got the girl.
It is Mr. Cross, and those are probably his bifocals.
Where's the girl? Where is she?
With her mother. Can you see all right in this light?
Which are going to get revealed now. What a brilliant piece of filmmaking.
That you killed Hollis Mulray. Right here. In that pond.
See, Mr. Gitz, either you bring the water to L.A., or you bring L.A. to the water.
How are you gonna do that?
By incorporating the valley into the city. Simple as that.
Whoa.
How much better can you eat? What can you buy that you can't already afford?
The future, Mr. Gitz. The future. I want the only daughter I've got left.
Who do you blame for that? Her?
I don't blame myself.
What? You freaking...
The right time and the right place, they're capable of anything.
That's a threat.
Really not worth it.
And they're in Chinatown. Okay, they're in Chinatown.
You're under arrest, Jake.
Good news.
Withholding evidence?
He's the bird you're after, Lou. I can explain everything, but just give me 5 minutes. That's all I need.
Shut up. I'm gonna lock you into the wheel of that car.
Lieutenant, I am rich. I am no cross.
He's not even intimidated.
He killed Mulray because of the water thing. I'm telling you.
I am your grandmother.
Come, miss.
How many years have I got? She's mine, too.
This is horrifying.
She's never going to know
Mine
that.
too.
Evelyn.
Evelyn, put that gun away. Let the police handle this.
He owns the police.
Kill me first.
Get away. Get
Oh man, Evelyn is dead. Shot through the... Shot through the eye. Get away, you freaking creep.
Who is possible?
What's that? Take him home.
Yeah, now they're convinced of his lack of involvement.
Go home, Jake. I'm doing you a favor.
Which he is. Because he did withhold evidence.
Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
Oh, that was such a heavy line. Forget it, Jake. It's just Chinatown. There was no retribution for the actual bad guy. He's still rich, and he still is going to do what he was planning to do. What a bleak ending. That was a fantastic film. But I need to think. The story was very complex. Okay, I took some time to collect my thoughts. First off, what a complex film. It was brilliant. I have to let you guys know this is going to be a surface level review. The script was incredibly intricate. I mean, from the surface, it's a standard murder mystery with the usual list of suspects, but I feel every single scene was building up to this insane finale. I'm very sure that there were clues hidden throughout the film, and my subsequent viewings, I'll catch them a little better. I kind of feel stupid. Anyways, it kind of reminded me of films that came after it, like The Usual Suspects or The Sixth Sense or Fight Club, where clues are littered throughout the film and they do reveal themselves during a second or third viewing, or if you look hard enough. It's a rewarding experience, to say the least. I can't find criticisms of this film except the complex plot, which is really not a criticism unless you're a very casual viewer. But the strengths were numerous though, starting from the script to the acting, cinematography, production design, and the subtle music that creeps up on you when you least expect it to. Let's start with the directing by Roman Polanski and the writing by Robert Towne. These men were at the top of their game in this film. This is a movie that deserves the highest praise precisely because it can be understood and interpreted on multiple levels. Like I mentioned before, on the surface, the plot was a little complicated, but not enough for the average viewer not to understand everything. You can catch most of it. Jake Gittes, played by Nicholson, is hired to investigate the affair of Mr. Mulray he was having, but things spiral out of control when he's found to be murdered. It's slowly revealed that Mr. Mulray was against building a dam that would supposedly help the city of LA, but in fact the water would be directed to the valley, which in turn was slowly being bought up by his father-in-law, Mr. Cross. Dunaway's Mrs. Mulray gets caught up in the entire situation, and her intentions aren't completely revealed till the final act, where she confesses that this girl that they were all after was in fact both his daughter and sister, implying that she was raped as a child. That is effed up. What a revelation though. That turned the story on its head immediately and shifted all the attention to the father, the true villain. All this added up to a spectacular finale where she gets killed by the police trying to protect this poor girl before Jake has to walk away from this entire situation because there is nothing he can literally do. The last line, it's just Chinatown. I think it has more meaning than I understand, but I'll definitely be rewatching this film. The film left me with a sinking feeling in my heart, and I'm sure that's exactly what Mr. Polanski's intentions were. As for the directing itself, honestly, it was immaculate. I couldn't find a single fault with his style. The film was noir through and through, right down to the hard-boiled detective murders and the clues trickling in at a snail's pace. It wasn't spoon-fed to you. You had to think, which is excellent. And films nowadays, yeah, I can't say the same about it. I really don't have a doubt about Polanski's directing abilities, but my goodness, he was a master of his craft here. This is a film that warrants rewatches, and like I said before, I'm going to have to watch it in a couple of weeks to understand the main plot on the other levels, because there was so much depth in here. Let's move on to the cinematography, which was so good, I didn't notice it, and that's a good thing. This is because, just like CGI, if it's done right, you're not meant to really notice it. It should be one with the movie, and that sentiment holds true here. Everything fit in so well with the story that I was pretty much convinced that the film was shot around that era. Just like The Godfather, that's high praise right there. The editing in this film was great too, with the story being cut very slowly and deliberately, not giving away too much at one time, yet keeping the plot very interesting and intriguing. The character framings, staging, and the position changes between the characters were very tight and controlled, judging by the performances. Like I mentioned before, it kind of reminded me of a Quentin Tarantino script where there is little or no improvisation at all. This was the director's vision, and it was bold and clear to see. The music in this film was extremely minimal and done right. Throughout the first two acts, we mostly hear very simple piano notes, maybe a little jazz, but by the third act, the traditional saxophones are introduced. Just perfection. I love films like this where the music is not an accessory to the film, but rather a tool to facilitate and structure the story. The music was mostly used during transition shots and not during tense or emotional moments. Jerry Goldsmith was a legend and he did stellar work here. The set design in this film was flawless, one of the best I've seen in a while. Like I said before, I can't comment too much about it because I didn't notice it as much as I was concentrating on the story. From what I did notice, the sets were picture perfect, the cars looked like they were from that era, so did the props and the hair and the makeup and costumes. Just top tier work in this department. Moving on to the two lead actors. Jack Nicholson played Jake Grittis, the hardball detective with a natural bordering on obsession curiosity. His performance was awesome, and I mean that in the most literal sense. He was reserved but curious, edgy but didn't come off as arrogant. It was like we were seeing the story through Jake's eyes. He was the audience's vessel, and he played that role to perfection. I wouldn't call this his best performance though. To me, it's still The Shining, but more subtle films like this only go to show the crazy range that Nicholson possesses, and that's why he's considered among the best ever. Faye Dunaway as Mrs. Mulwray was just so good. Over half the runtime, she convinced me that she was the actual bad guy along with the father. Her expressions were on point, and the character was the hardest to read among the cast. That's great. But the reveal at the end not only shocked me, but made me feel very sorry for her. I still can't believe that she dies at the end and the father got away with it. But that's what happens in real life too, and I think that's what Polanski was trying to show. It was bleak. But to me, Dunaway's performance was a little better than Nicholson's. But then again, that's very subjective. What I'm trying to say, I guess, both were award-worthy. Like I said before, I don't have any real criticisms of the film. The positives outweigh any negative thing I might think of eventually. Maybe if Polanski made the story a little easier to follow, but then again, the whole point of a noir film is trying to figure out the mystery, and that aspect was done brilliantly. Overall, this was a masterpiece of neo-noir cinema. To be completely honest, I understood this film on a very surface level, and even that makes this an unbelievably good movie. I can only imagine this film gets better with rewatches, and the rabbit hole goes very deep if you look for it. This is a huge and easy recommendation for lovers of murder mysteries and neo-noir films. I absolutely loved every second of it, and I cannot wait for the inevitable rewatches. Anyways, thank you for watching. I have a Patreon page. Consider being a patron. Please subscribe to the channel. Like if you like this video, dislike it if you didn't. I will see you in the next one. Bye.